All right, welcome to this video. My name is Taylor Bentrude, and I'm going to talk to you about something controversial called how coronavirus will actually strengthen your agency. I know there's a lot of people kind of freaking out, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of clients saying, hey, I don't want to work with you right now, we can't work with you, pausing the contracts, or the retainers are getting reduced. And there's a lot of, stuff going on that usually doesn't go on. But there's also a lot of positives. It's not just negatives. So first of all, the number one reason that it'll strengthen your agency is it'll teach you a lesson that if you haven't learned is very important, and it's that you need cash reserves, at least 12 months, ideally. Our agency isn't even at 12 months yet, but we have enough reserves to the point where we can actually sleep at night and we're not freaking out because our clients are asking us to reduce the retainers. We're flexible. We can reduce the retainers for them for the next 1 to 2 months, maybe 3 months, depending on how long this pandemic planetary shutdown thing lasts. But if you haven't learned this lesson, this will strengthen your agency a lot, because after this whole thing settles and everything's back to normal, you should be focusing on getting your cash reserves to 12 months. That means that if all your clients stopped working with you, you have enough money to payroll and fund all the operations for 12 months, even if no one's paying you, okay? The next 6 reasons, which are also very important, but not as important as this one, is number one, your competitors are getting wiped out right now. So everyone's getting hit with this. And you in your niche, whatever your niche is, and whatever the service is that you provide, whatever you're experiencing, everyone else is experiencing. And that means that the little small agency owners who haven't really provided that great of a service for the clients, the same clients that you serve, are getting wiped out. They're getting wiped out because this is a cleanse and they did not have cash reserves. They were not prepared for something like this. And they were never even dedicated to serving their clients anyways, and now they're just going to change their niches and change their service. I actually see this happening right now. Quite a few people have messaged me and they're telling me that they're going to change niche. Why would you change niche? It's because you don't have cash reserves and you're not actually that dedicated to servicing your clients. And so you need to generate cash immediately because you're in a panic mode. If you had 12 months of cash reserves, changing your niche is the absolutely worst decision you could ever make, especially if you have an established agency that's already doing really well. If you just had 1 or 2 clients and you're going to change your niche, this is what I'm talking about the competitors are getting wiped out and there's like a market cleanse. So I think that's a beautiful thing because it's going to get rid of all the little guys that are kind of just like leeches in the niche, in the marketplace, and they're just jumping niches 24/7. Not that they really mattered to begin with, but it's beneficial for you if you're dedicated to servicing your clients and staying with your niche and your service for the next 5-10 years, okay? The next thing is that clients will be making buying decisions out of necessity. So if your service isn't a necessity to your client for whatever service it is that you're providing, well, that's going to be a problem. So services that are not really a necessity for the client, they're not going to do so well if this whole pandemic situation turns into a recession. Because in a recession, really, everyone's kind of chilling out on growth mode, and they want to make sure that they're getting by. It really depends on your industry and your niche, but in most cases, a lot of companies in a recession will go and they'll be a lot more conservative, which means that if they're paying an agency $10,000 a month for a service that really isn't much of a necessity, they're going to get rid of it. That's going to be the first thing that they get rid of, okay? And you need to make sure that your service is a necessity. Now for us, we run an advertising agency. It's strictly, literally, it's very measurable and it impacts the bottom line. Okay, if you run a web design agency or you run like a photography agency where it's done for you photography or something, although in certain cases and certain aspects and ways that you look at it, it could be seen as a necessity, you're going to have to do your best to make sure that your service is seen as a necessity and the way you market it is a necessity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? So, it basically just tying everything to the bottom line as best as you can with the service that you provide. If this one isn't really much of an issue unless this whole thing turns into a recession, which more or less everyone's kind of panicking about. But the third thing is that while others are panicking and getting distracted, you can be laser focused. Now this one's amazing because first of all, a lot of people are in like panic mode and they're just taking time off and they basically are distracted by all the people and the social media and everything freaking out, and it's a huge distraction. Now this is amazing because while everyone else is distracted, you as the agency owner can just be laser focused on achieving your goal and growing your company while everyone else is distracted, which will basically push you further than everyone else, and it'll give you more of a head start, if you will, to pass everyone if you kind of look at this as a race. Depends on how you look at it, but if you look at it as a race, you could really get ahead of other people during this time while everyone else is distracted. The fourth thing is that overpriced agencies will slowly die. Now this one's great. I love this one because there are some agencies in your space. So if you run a web design agency or whatever it is, there's always the agency who charges an insane amount, like 10x what your normal retainers are. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's great if there's an agency that can justify charging 10x what the normal price or standard should be. That means they're doing a great job at sales. They better be doing a great job at delivering their service and their product. Otherwise, they wouldn't be getting business like that. Or otherwise they'd be out of business in a short period of time. But these overpriced agencies are slowly gonna die, and they're gonna be the first ones to get cut as soon as, if this thing turns into a major recession of some kind. Because paying $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 per month for a service that you could find with another agency that charges $5,000 or $6,000 a month, they're gonna go with the agency that charges $5,000 or $6,000 a month. It's only a matter of time. So, this is something important to think about if you are one of those guys or one of those people that's running an agency that charges abnormally high rates relative to other people in your industry. You may have to expect reducing your prices a bit depending on how things turn out. I'm not saying you need to do that right now, but depending on how things turn out. The fifth thing is that more talent will be available. This is amazing because we actually saw there's a company in our space, one of our competitors, if you will, who went from, I think it was like, let's just say, I'm not gonna say the exact number, but they went from like 200 employees to like 30 employees in a matter of 2 weeks. So they literally just cut so many people. And why? Well, I don't know the exact reason, but I would like to guess that it's partly because of what's going on. And so there's a lot of agencies that are fat. They've accumulated a lot of fat, and now they're like, oh shit, something's coming here. We need to just be based out of necessity, and we need to basically only have the team members that we really need, and they're getting rid of all the fat. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone else was useless in the company. There could still be amazing, talented individuals within the company that lost their jobs simply because of a panic reaction from high-level management. And that means that there's going to be more available talent for you as the agency owner to pick up on the marketplace, which is phenomenal. Number 6 is that it's a great time to over-deliver on service for your clients. So, obviously, you're not the only one with a business. Your clients have businesses, and that's very obvious. But if you're proactive and you come to your clients first and you say, hey, we understand this thing's going on. If we need to reduce our retainers, if there's a situation where you need to completely pause our service or whatever it is, we're ready. Come to us and we'll make sure that we can work something out that's a win-win for both of us during this turbulent time. That's great. If you come forward to your client like that proactively before the client comes to you, it'll build a certain level of respect and a relationship that's stronger than it was before this whole coronavirus situation started. So it's a great time to go through a great amount of adversity with your clients and build a stronger relationship, a much stronger relationship. So over-delivering on service and basically being very open and upfront with your clients about willing to change your retainer, lower it, or even pause the service if you really, really need to. And so that comes down to cash reserves, because you can't really make that decision or do that if you have $2,000 in your bank account because you've been relentlessly spending all your money for the last 5 years during this incredible, actually for the last like 12 years, during this incredible bull market that we've been in, So, this is why cash reserves is so important. So with all that being said, there's many other really positive things and ways that you can look at this whole situation. Obviously, I'm not saying that it's great that this has happened. It sucks that this has happened, but a lot of people are freaking out and they're seeing the negatives and they're panicking. There's no need to panic. There's a lot of positives to look at, especially for you within your agency. Don't freak out. And if you don't have cash reserves, that sucks. You may have to change your niche. You may have to figure out ways to make money, but it's a huge, huge lesson, and it's good you learn it now and not 5-10 years from now. Because the sooner you learn it, the better. All right? Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you think I missed anything, and hit that subscribe button below. I'm trying to post a video once a week, even during these times. So thanks for watching. Ciao.